Night shift workers of Reddit. What are some creepy things you've experienced in the middle of the night? Before we dig into it, don't forget to like and subscribe.
Story 1. I used to work overnight shifts at a restaurant with a drive-thru that I was also in charge of. There was a bird who cooed into the drive-thru speaker and into my headset that kept scaring the crap out of me until I finally realized what it was. Story 2. I used to work at a pub that was 2 miles from my house. My shift ended at about 11 one night. I stayed there for a couple of drinks, then started walking home. Now, this had been an exceptional night for me, tip-wise, and I had close to $400 in cash on me at the time. Between the pub and my house was exactly one street light about a quarter mile from the pub. The rest of the walk was in complete darkness. This was a dark night too. It was close to the new moon and cloudy to boot, so it was almost pitch black. Now I live out in the boonies, so there isn't even much light pollution to help out. Not long after I leave the pub, a car slowly drives by me about a quarter mile down the road. The car slows to a stop and it just sits there. I stop walking and watch the car. It sits for a few minutes, then slowly drives away. A couple of minutes later, the same car comes slowly driving back by me in the opposite lane. It gets by me, drives a bit down the road and slows to a stop again. Then it does a U-turn and starts creeping back down the road towards me with the lights off. At this point I'm freaking terrified. I don't have a cell phone. At the time there's no one around to see what's going on. The car is between me and the pub so I can't get back to the safety there. My house is still about 5 miles away. No way I can quickly escape there. I quickly run off the road into the woods and duck down behind a bush. I watch for the car, but it's too dark to see it with the lights off and bushes or trees or undergrowth between me and the road. I sit there for about 10 minutes but don't see or hear anything. I'm about to make my way back to the road when I hear car doors closing. Now I'm really panicking. It feels like my chest is about to explode. The hairs on the back of my neck is standing up. I keep imagining someone sneaking up behind me. I stay hidden and hope to God whoever it is doesn't find me. I don't know how long I stay there, but I eventually hear car doors again, then cars passing by. I give it a couple of minutes, then ease back to the road. When I see it's clear, I haul ass back to the pub and let my boss know what happened. He said then and there that I'm never to walk home at night again. Either him, his brother, or his mom will give me a lift home. When the other servers and the kitchen staff hear what happened, they all say the same thing. Never been that terrified before. Story 3. I work at a cafe in downtown. Quite a few homeless shelters in range and a huge drug problem. One day I'm working behind the bar and this redhead kid probably in his early 20s sits down in our seating area and starts chanting crap under his breath. After a minute or two he starts moving his hands around like he's casting a spell. He then gets up, starts yelling and disturbing everyone. I walk over to him and tell him he needs to leave for the day. Dude looks me straight in the eye and says, "This is all a giant game, I'll fricking kill you with one finger." At this point, whatever, I get death threats a lot down here, no biggie. Shoot him on his way and that's that. Fast forward to when we're closing up around 9 up. I'm not technically night shift, but it gets dark up here, so it counts. I lock the doors and start heading to the parking garage. My car is in. It's probably about 6 blocks away, no big deal. Winter up here is insanely dark, so it's already pretty creepy in downtown. About a block or two of walking, and I hear this hissing noise. I freak the frick out because I can't see anyone around. I pick up the pace a bit. Then I hear hurried footsteps in the snow behind me, frick, that I booked it to the staircase for the garage because I wasn't going to wait for the elevator. I'm about the staircase up and I hear the door I just went through slam shut. I finally make it to my car, get in as fast as possible. I look around and lo and behold, there is the redhead from earlier. Only this time he's freaking furious. He sees me in the car and books at full speed and starts hitting my window screaming, "I'm going to fucking kill you." I door checked him and drove the frick away. Called the cops the next morning and they found the dude. Apparently he thinks he's in the Illuminati and completely corroborated my story to the police, small jail time and 1 restraining order later. Never seen him again. Crap like this happens a lot. TLDR got chased to my car by a crazy redhead wizard in the Illuminati because I told him he had to calm down and leave for the day. Story 4. I work in the ER and I frequently work overnight shifts. One night I was sitting at the front desk by myself and I heard the front doors open, but nobody walks in. So I get up to go see what the hell is going on or if anyone needs help. I go into the vestibule as it's empty and I want to see if anyone is outside. Nobody is there, not even any vehicles. At this point I shrug it off, but then I look down and see a massive pool of blood, like trauma level 1 massive. I immediately call the nurses to come up and we all scout out the area. We didn't find anyone and to this day I wonder if that person survived. Just wish I could have helped. Very creepy experience. Story 5. Not exactly night shift, but as a bartender I'm usually heading home around 2 to 4 am on a slow Monday night. We were about to close the restaurant when a seemingly homeless woman walked into the bar. Working in the city, we're used to vagrants making their way into the bar, so kicking her out would be easy. My manager yelled to her, "Hey, sorry, we're closing up. We won't be able to serve you. You'll have to leave." She kept walking slowly and silently toward the bar, staring straight ahead with a blank face. As she walked closer, we realized she looked unusual for a homeless woman. Her skin was grey. I've never seen a skin color like hers in my life. It wasn't dirty or old or tanned. It was a very light grey that was tight, with almost no wrinkles. She also had a tattoo of 4 lines on her face. They'd all started at one point in the center of her chin, then continued down her neck in a ray-like pattern. She also had no shoes on. Once she reached the bar, she went to pull out a chair when my manager yelled again, "Hey, we're closing up. Also, you can't be in here without shoes on. You need to leave now." She continued to sit down, then turned her head slowly to me, locking eyes with me. She said, "I like you." At this point, my finger was on the bar panic button. Most bars have them so they can get immediate police response. Our bouncer finally made his way over and put his hand on her shoulder to ask her to leave. The minute he touched her, she broke out into this extremely loud, high-pitched, manic scream. It was like a scream out of a horror movie. What made it creepier? The whole time she was screaming, she was looking at me dead in the eye without blinking. She wasn't moving, so my bouncer went to forcibly remove her from the bar. I pushed the panic button and watched my bouncer pull away this woman as she was screaming uncontrollably, all while staring straight at me. The police came fairly quickly and took the woman away. To this day, that is still the creepiest night I've ever had at work. Story 6. Used to work late shift as classroom support for a college. We didn't get a lot of high priority calls from night classes, so among other duties, we'd get a lot of repairs and maintenance done. That couldn't be done when the classrooms were in use during the day. I don't mind the dark, so I wasn't in the habit of turning lights in classrooms on if I was just going to do something real quick on the computer. Well, I had a ticket to install something on the instructor PC in a classroom I had never been to before. It's about 10 PM. When I get around to this ticket and I head into the room, I get about halfway across the room and suddenly freeze. The hair on the back of my neck is standing up and I feel 100% that I'm being watched. No, I'm surrounded. Then, as my eyes start to adjust, I see them. This entire classroom is encircled by hospital beds sticking out from the walls, and in every bed there's a person sitting up looking right at me. Holy fucking shit. Oh, I'm sorry. I blurt out before finally realizing that they are all just plastic dummies and I was in a nursing classroom. Story 7. I worked at Walmart overnight for a while. Every single Friday night, without fail, this old woman with 2 children would come in at around 10, minus 11. She was obnoxiously loud as she shopped. She grabbed a bunch of different things and stuffed it all in her cart, a few times asking one of our employees to help her grab something. Every Friday night it was the same thing. Her talking voice was her yelling, and stayed in the store, sometimes until 5 AM. I worked 10 to 7. She grabbed a cart full of stuff which seemed like it was from every section of the store. She would do this with her 2 girls, and the weirdest part wasn't even that. It was the fact that she would leave her cart somewhere and walk out with nothing, spent hours in the store grabbing a bunch of crap with her 2 kids, and walked out without anything every Friday. I never figured out why. It's not creepy scary, it's more creepy weird. There was also a creepy sad time where this woman was shopping, and she was obviously fricked up on drugs. Her face showed it. She was basically unresponsive to anyone and anything as she walked through the store. I only saw her once walking by with her kid. He was about 7, saying things like, "Hey, can you hear me? It's me. Why aren't you talking to me?" Stuff like that. Really sad. But yes, those are my overnight stories. I don't work there anymore. Story 8. I used to work overnight phone support for enterprise customers, specifically those in a pack. Frankly, our market segment there was very, very small. On average, each person working got 3 to 5 calls a week. The office building we were in used to be a shipping receiving warehouse and had horrendous sodium vapor halogens, so we petitioned to have the lights turned out at night. This one evening I was watching Frailty with headphones while waiting for my next call. I remember it being a very tense moment in the movie, and I heard a growling over my shoulder. I quickly checked nothing there, chalked it up to the movie. A couple of minutes later I hear the growling again. It's not a dog, it's not the movie. I tap one of my coworkers, ask if they hear it too. He does, so we start searching. I end up the far corner of a cubicle farm area and I hear the growling again, and it's right behind me. I turn around and there's nothing there. The growling is right in front of me. I peek into the large manager's cube and there's the growling. It's the security guard asleep under the desk. This jackass picked the only section of the building that had people staff overnight, and the only section that required badged entry. The next morning, on my way out of the building, I told the security guard that there were some odd noises coming in manager's cube. He went pale and said, "I'll have to add that to